Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast. At Healthy Steps Nutrition, we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple, habit-based approach. We know that helping your clients become the best and healthiest versions of themselves isn't just about what they eat or coming to the gym a few hours a week. We, as gym owners and coaches, have to focus on a holistic approach, looking at support systems, stress management, sleep, mindset, lifestyle, and of course, exercise and nutrition. I'm your host, Nicole Aucoin, registered dietitian and founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring. I'm also the author of The Basics of Nutrition Coaching, CrossFit Preferred Nutrition course. In this podcast, I'm going to teach you how to make one step at a time to becoming the best nutrition coach and building an awesome habit-based coaching program. In today's podcast, we are talking about how to use a habit-based approach when working with clients and how to know what habits we should work on first. Today's guest is Kayla Pollock. She's our Director of Coach Development at HSN Mentoring. I'm so excited to take a deeper dive into this. Maybe you are a gym owner or a coach that is used to giving out macros or meal plans, having clients track all of their food in an app like MyFitnessPal, and you're realizing there's got to be a better way to support my clients. This isn't a one-size-fits-all model. I want to keep it a little bit more simple so clients can be more consistent and see better results. I want to increase the length of engagement with my nutrition clients. This is the episode for you. So excited for you to learn and take action to start experimenting with a habit-based approach when working with clients, and most importantly, keeping it client-centered. We will get to this episode with Kayla right after this message. Did you know that HSN Mentoring provides a turnkey solution for gym owners and coaches to build, launch, and grow nutrition coaching programs? That's right, we provide you the business systems, the marketing support, the nutrition coaching certification using the Healthy Steps Nutrition Framework, and an exclusive app to manage your clients. Kayla and I talk a little bit about the app specifically related to the Healthy Steps Nutrition habits that are in there in today's episode. If you are interested in saving time and not reinventing the wheel when building a nutrition coaching program, if this is the missing piece of the puzzle in your business and you are feeling overwhelmed, you don't know where to start, I would love the opportunity to help you. You can click the link in the show notes and book a free call with me today. Gym owners are required to be on those calls, but you are welcome to have anyone who might be interested in becoming a nutrition coach on the call with you as well. That is the first step to get started with HSN Mentoring. All right, let's get back to this episode with Kayla. Enjoy. Kayla, welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be back.
You've been so busy with a lot of the updates that have been happening on the coach development side. And I thought it would be a really fun conversation to take a deeper dive into some of the things that we're doing to support coaches with a habit-based approach. Well, I think habit-based approach has gotten more popular. People are realizing, hey, we can't just give people macros and meal plans and expect them to do this complete 160 turn from the lifestyle that they had before. But what does it actually mean to use a habit-based approach, keep it client-centered? How does it actually work?
Yeah, all the buzzwords. So when I think habit-based approach, I think about what are the daily things, the small things that we just do throughout our day that get us to the life that we want to live. And when we think about providing or using a habit-based approach with clients, it's how can we guide them towards building the necessary habits to achieve, those long-term goals and everything that they're wanting.
When we're talking about keeping it client-centered, we're also kind of focusing on what the client's wanting, not saying like, hey, every single person is starting off with this habit. Probably isn't going to make sense if the client's not excited to work on something. And I think one of the reasons why some nutrition coaches really struggle with helping their clients is the client's not excited to work on something, so they're not going to do it. And then the program doesn't work when in reality, the client didn't do the things. But could we reformulate a plan that is more client-centered approach using this habit-based framework to create these building blocks to help clients make that lifestyle change that you're talking about.
1,000%. And, bringing the idea of challenges, look, they're popular right now. Everybody's getting bikini ready and all the things. So your 30-day challenges, your 6-week challenges, well, those are great kickstarts. They are for coaches. I feel like oftentimes a safety net that they just kind of stay in that we're all focusing on these 3 to 5 things. And that's just the only thing we need to do in order to achieve success. And so those things could be, you're counting your calories, you're eating off a meal plan, you're working out X times every single week. And this is exactly what you're going to be doing. And again, those are great foundational things that you could look at. They're also black and white tools that aren't necessarily going to be the key for long-term success when we look at a variety of different lifestyles and goals and journeys, right? We have people starting at step 1, and we might have people starting at step 10. And keeping a true client-centered approach is being able to identify where that client is in their journey and what specific areas based on their goals and their lifestyle they need to focus on in order to find success.
And we're going to take a deeper dive into what does that actually look like? I'm so excited about this conversation. I was talking to one of our other dietitians, Lorraine, yesterday, and we were talking about pushback that sometimes happens with coaches and owners who use meal plans in the past or have done a strict macro approach. And why is that the safety net? And even when I started Healthy Subs Nutrition, I remember giving people meal plans and it was like, hey, if you follow this thing, I know you will see results. But in reality, that was too big of a step for people to change everything that they were doing, go from 0 to 100. Maybe they could do it for a week or two, but the engagement for clients was nowhere near what it is today because I wasn't keeping that client-centered approach. And I would challenge listeners, if they have strictly focused on macros and giving out meal plans, to take this idea and just experiment with it and see how much increased engagement you get with clients and how their results are, how their consistency is, because ultimately consistency is the driver of results. So let's take a deeper dive. There's a lot of different habits that you could technically focus on with clients, especially when you're looking at a holistic framework addressing, of course, nutrition. That's the foundation of Healthy Subs Nutrition, but also sleep, support system, stress management, mindset, lifestyle, all these other factors. If we were to talk about nutrition specifically first, how do you kind of figure out what is this lowest hanging fruit, this idea that we've been talking about for a while? How do you figure that out with clients?
Yeah. First thing is figuring out what a sample day looks like. I want to know in a given day, from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed, nutrition speaking, I'm going to ask about a lot of things, but what does a sample day of eating and drinking look like? And my biggest goal is to understand as much detail as possible, meaning when are they eating? What do the portion sizes look like? Are they aware of their portion size? Do they tune into how they feel? And I know this one sounds silly, but I want to know, how did they feel going into the meal? When they wake up, how hungry are they? How do they feel? And what are they doing during their meals? And what about after? And when I can gather all this information, it helps me to identify, is there a proper balance? Are we incorporating the foods that are going to help them feel their best to achieve those goals? So it starts with just asking open-ended questions and digging into where they're even starting.
I love that. And as you're digging in, you also drop some nutrition education nuggets with clients. Talk to me about what does that look like so that you're kind of planting the seed essentially to help them pick the habit that would make sense for them.
Yes. So I love that you said they need to pick it. That's a true client-centered approach. I am not here to tell clients what to do, but I am here to guide them in the right direction because I want them to find success. I want them to be excited for everything they're going to achieve. And I do this by providing education, and more specifically, relevant education. Just like we talked about just a few minutes ago, group kind of ideas versus individual. I want the client experience to truly be an individualized approach, start to finish. And that means education. An example for how we can keep it relevant is, well, I'm covering some foundational knowledge and I'm going to talk about the 3 core principles. I'm going to talk about macros and what they mean and different foods and whole foods, of course. But as I do that, I'm going to pull in the things that I've learned about the client and help them understand, oh, well, this is why I'm struggling to find success, or this is why I feel super tired in the afternoon. One of the common themes, to give you a specific example I've been seeing lately with clients, is being so busy in the morning. We live in this society where the moment we wake up, it's all about go, 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 right? Whether we've got kids or work or whatever that thing is. And they're kind of skipping breakfast, right? And without that proper balance first thing in the morning, it's turning into feeling really hungry later in the day, leading to more cravings, more snacks, and more convenient foods just to kind of fill that void and keep them moving forward. So if I say, hey, Nicole, our core principle number 2 is focus on balance, meaning do we have a protein, carbohydrate, and fat in every meal and snack? And the reason behind that is because it makes us feel fuller and fueled longer in those busy days. It makes sense that if we're not getting that balance earlier in the day, it's leading to these intense feelings and not so great actions later in the day. And providing that education and making it relevant, one is going to plant a seed of, oh, for that client, maybe I should experiment with trying to find the right way to get a balanced breakfast in. And 2, sometimes when we provide education as coaches, we can get into, oh, this education is for us to show how much we know. And all of a sudden, clients' eyes just glaze over and we lose them. So if we can pull their specifics into it, they're just going to stay more engaged. And that's just going to help with retention and truly building that strong foundation.
I love that. So helpful you've done the typical day. Now you're taking what you've learned and pulling that into the nutrition education portion of an initial consult or a follow-up visit, really. I mean, any type of consultation with clients. And then it comes to the point of like, hey, let's pick the one thing that we're going to work on. How do we pick that one thing? How do you know what to work on?
Yeah. So I do like to start off with the HSN 3 core principles, right? We know that that's changed over 45,000 people's lives all around the world. So clearly it's a strong place to start. And as a reminder, those 3 core principles, 1, focus on whole foods first. The second one I said, focus on balance, carbs, protein, fat. And the third one is really staying mindful and limiting the amount of added sugar and processed carbohydrates. So as I am looking throughout the client's sample day, I'm identifying what are their low-hanging fruit that align with these 3 core principles first and foremost. And then, like we said earlier, I'm not going to tell them, here's what we're going to do, but I'm going to provide the right education that help them understand these 3 core principles and how it translates into how they're feeling throughout the day. So then they can tell me, this is the one I'm excited to start focusing on. And that's the key. They need to be excited for what they're working on, or it's going to be a very quick crash and burn.
Right. So after you've done education, you're going to say something like, hey, with everything we've talked about, what's one thing that you'd like to work on, to focus on, that you'd be excited about over the next few weeks, and we can help create a plan around that. And if they're like, Kayla, what if I said, Kayla, I have no idea. Like, there's so much that I could work on. What's your response then?
Yeah, I love this one. And we're definitely going to have clients like, whoa, you tell me. And there's a lot of research that goes behind the client being able to make the final decision, right? We've talked about it on past episodes, but the idea of psychological reactance, when we're told what to do, things feel a lot harder to actually follow through and do those things. So to kind of meet in the middle, what I like to do is say, you know what? Great question. I might ask, well, I really do have some thoughts, but I'd love to hear if anything's standing out for you first. And if that question doesn't produce anything, then I'll follow up with, okay, you know what? Here are 3 areas I noticed that would help you with X goal. I would identify those 3 areas, remind them why they're important, and then again ask, of these three areas, which are you the most excited to build a plan for and focus on for the next few weeks here?
Awesome. We're going to talk in the next part 2 episode on how to actually build the plan. But I want to go back a second. We talked about, hey, you start with typically the 3 core principles first: whole foods, balance, limiting the amount of ultra processed food and added sugar. But then the holistic wheel actually allows there to be a lot of other things that you could work on with clients after we've nailed those things down. We just released, I guess not just, a couple months ago, released the habit map that's been in the work for quite some time. Melinda did an incredible job with this, and our team of dietitians, I would say. It was a collaborative effort. You guys killed it. And this holistic habit map allows coaches that might not be as familiar with addressing some of the other pillars with that holistic approach, how to create some habits, how to give some ideas with working on those specific pillars. How do you feel like it's helping coaches deliver a more holistic coaching experience?
Yeah, the number one why or reason behind the HSN habit map was really to increase the confidence of coaches when it comes to keeping a client-centered approach, which means meeting the client where they're at. So, of course, we started off with the 3 core principles. So, how do we break down the habit outcome or the long-term goal of increasing vegetables to X amount to meet the client where they're at? And there's a lot of reasons why we'd want to do that. But what we also did was start to take a deeper, closer dive into the other, more, I would say, intangible type things when we think about the holistic approach, like mindset, lifestyle, support. We talk about these things, but there was definitely a gap in the confidence in coaches of what that actually means and how they can make an impact with their clients. And this habit map has been a true game changer. One of the things that I think a lot of coaches were excited to see was around mindset. And here at HSN, we have taken a deep dive into all things mental health and mindset because it is all connected, right? That holistic approach when it comes to optimal health and wellness. So we got to dive into end goals of improving self-talk, an important one, how to stay present and focus on the journey rather than just that long 6+ month goal, because it's an everyday thing that we need to be present with and work towards. And even staying positive. So more positive self-talk, but being able to highlight bright spots, for example. And this is just one area that we got to dive into and help coaches help their clients with, but it's really expanded all the things that we coaches can work on with our clients. And it's been really exciting.
The cool thing is all of the habits plus resources, pro tips, the why behind that habit were all built into the Healthy Steps Nutrition app as well, which basically added over 175 more habits that were put into the app to make it easy for coaches to deliver a professional experience and not just say, hey, I want you to do this, but more of the why and the support behind it, which has been a really fun experience. The cool thing with focusing on a holistic approach, addressing all of these other things, is there's always something to work on with clients. I could look at that wheel and say, yep, there is something that I could use accountability and support with from a coach. And what that allows is increased length of engagement with clients where they're staying bought in because you're able to provide value and support to help them achieve what they're wanting. And what I think the coolest part of this process is, and how we've evolved so much into this holistic approach, is people sign up for nutrition coaching, but what they end up getting is like a true life transformation and mentorship. And you're able to create such a meaningful impact in their life for them to go live out their purpose and do what they're wanting.
Mm-hmm. I think to just add to that idea, again, increasing confidence of coaches is how many times if we had coaches say, well, a client stopped at this month because they just didn't need me anymore, right? Such a mental block. But this has been a really great way, leaning into that holistic approach, that we as coaches have huge amount of value that we can always bring to the table. Because here's the thing, and I think we can all relate to this in our day-to-day, our weeks and our months. it's not always the same, right? Sometimes we do need to focus more on our nutrition, and other times our life is going to be in a place that feels super easy, but what's not easy is staying positive. And so with the different chapters, we coaches have such a huge value that we can tweak the plan and really help our clients in the chapter that they're in. And I think this HSN habit map and that entire holistic approach has really been the key to figuring out the best ways to impact our clients.
Ultimately, your quality of sleep, your mindset, your support system, your daily movement beyond going to the gym a few days a week are all influencing nutrition decisions, right? And in the bigger picture, influencing your client's ability to reach and maintain their goals. So when you use a holistic approach, you're able to support them in such a greater way. I'm so excited with everything that you're doing in regards to coach development, to supporting those coaches. Yesterday, you hosted a webinar on food, mood, and mental health. Holy cow, there was so much information in there. I feel like people need to go back and watch it on like 0.5 speed and take a deep dive into all of that information. Because ultimately, if you're able to help your clients connect the dots with how they feel, their mental health, and nutrition, and also the exercise piece, your clients you're going to truly change their life.
Yeah, 1,000%. Streamlining the process, increasing confidence. That's what I live for.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm excited to take a deeper dive into part 2, where we are talking about how to actually create a plan using one habit at a time. So we'll dive in next week.
Yeah, see you there.
I hope you enjoyed that episode with Kayla, all on creating a habit-based approach and picking the right habit with clients. I love how she talked about when you go into a nutrition education portion of the initial consultation or follow-up visits, you go back to what was that client doing and what education is relevant and prevalent. There are so many things that you could talk about, but what's going to make sense to help the client move the needle forward? As a beginning nutrition coach, sometimes you feel like you have to share all the information. I remember my clients sometimes feeling a little bit overwhelmed when they left that initial consultation. And it's an amazing shift that happens when you can keep it super simple and clients are like, that's it? That's all you want me to do? Yes, be consistent with this one thing and then don't worry, we'll add the next thing to the plate. Now, next week, in this 2-part series, we're going to talk about how to actually create that plan. So we've picked the habit that the client is so excited to work on. Now, what do we do between that time that is left in the consultation to the client actually doing the habit? There are some really important steps that need to happen to ensure that your client is successful. Research shows that if you don't do these steps, your clients could have like a 30 to 35% success rate with completing one habit. But when you follow these steps, their success rate increases to 91% on average. Holy cow. You definitely want to listen in to next week's episode to increase client success. If your clients are successful, they're going to see results. If they're seeing results, they're going to stay motivated and want to continue to work with you. You're going to increase your length of engagement with clients, which is going to increase your nutrition revenue. You're increasing impact and you're adding a more sustainable business model to your nutrition coaching business. So tune in next week. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. It would really help us if you left us a review. Click 5 stars, leave us a review. It would really help this podcast reach more people. All right, we'll see you back here next week.